All right, thank you. Mr. Tosin, okay, seems we'll just we'll just keep the ball moving and we hope to get the best out of today's segment. So we'll continue with the webinar, the masterclass, since Mr. Tosin is having some sort of a network glitch. So I'm going to be passing the next question to Mr. Olua Tosin and would like to find out, how do you leverage your skill to foster relationships and to drive major sales? I'm going to be posting this question to the Zoom chat box for you to reference. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Buluwatife. Thank you.
All right, please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. So first off, Antonio, you might want to give Tosin access to mute his mic. And yes, apologies to everyone for that. Zoom have become very vulnerable to this. So please, I'd just like you to re-reference the question so we can continue.
Okay. All right. So I actually posted this question to the chat box. How do you leverage your skills to foster relationships and drive major sales?
Okay. How do I leverage my skills to drive relationship? Okay. So I'll answer this aside understanding like the core of the business, AI, and the AI revolution in Africa. I think it's still up to being business people, right? Everyday business people, understanding our roles as business people. Attending events like the eco-innovation events that they set up. Interesting events like that can be very useful for networking and building a wide audience of industry relationships. So basically, to reference the question, how do I leverage my skills? So my skill as a business person, of course, over time, I've worked with a number of companies in the past. And given that sales is at the core of every business person, I think it's really important for every key business person on the team to leverage sales.
Bolo, please confirm that you are there.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can.
All right, great. So like I was saying, so as CEO of the company, I think one major way that we drive sales from a CEO's perspective is leveraging relationships, like the question implied. So past relationship from past experiences and industry leaders, including members of the Co-Innovation Center. And they're like, so communicating the benefit from the point of being the COO usually seem a little bit different. And I can tell this for a fact. And of course, especially for the experience that I've had in the past, right? Sorry, I'm repeating so much. I'm just a little bit disorganized. But yes, I will just pass it on to Charles now.
Thank you. Please, do you mind going over the question?
All right, all right. So thank you so much, Bolu. That's very, very understandable, and I love that. So Charles, I would just want you, maybe you want to just give an insight around the question that Bolu is trying to answer. How do you leverage your skills to foster relationship and drive major sales? looking at your previous experiences and all. Do you want to share one or two? Thank you, Charles.
I think one of the most important things is how you relate with people. And it can vary. So what will work for B2B, that's business to business kind of startup, will be different for what works for B2C. Right. Even B2C also has categorizations. What would work for a non-tech startup is different from what would work for a tech startup. Right. But I would speak for B2B, since that's pretty much where my company is at the moment. It's really about building relationships with people, right? You try to look for the decision makers, get as much intros as you can from the people you already know, and the focus should not be about taking value from them, but should be about giving value to them, right? Most of these people are in positions where people want to take value from them, right? So that's the crowd. So you try to be the exception by being the person who is coming to bring value. And typically that value would be in terms of how your solution can help their lives, or the lives of their customers, or their business, right? So when you take that approach, and sometimes you meet a client who is your target customer. You might not necessarily close that customer today. It might be next year you close that customer. That person might help you close your next biggest customer without you closing him or his business. Do you get? So that's why the relationship building is important. Just because he's saying, oh, we already have a solution we are using, doesn't mean it's not important. He's also very important. So if you try to keep that relationship going, at some point along the line in your cycle, that person can convert or help you get the next customer that can convert. So I would say the most important thing I've learned is really that relationship building is a very, very key thing there. In B2C is quite different. You could employ a different set of methods. Relationship building might not necessarily help you so much like that. But then you could build up partnerships, collaboration. I think that's one thing I really admire about the US market. Companies there have no problem collaborating with each other. They can be competing directly and they will still collaborate. And I think if you adopt that system where you are try to look for businesses you can collaborate with, where your business provides value, they provide value to you too, and then you can use that to get in more customers. I think that will go a very, very long way in getting a lot of user base when it comes to B2C products. And for those who don't know, B2C is business to consumer. If your business is targeting individuals directly, then you call it B2C. Yeah, that's it.
Right. Thank you so much, Charles, for actually sharing such an insight. I actually hold the fact that you mentioned that relationship is one important thing that we all have to look forward to while dealing with sales. Also, you also mentioned that there is a way we can even collaborate even while we are actually doing the same thing. So there's a need for us to learn that collaboration is part of the tools for driving sales and growth. But then before we go, or before we have Bulu back on the line, I just want to ask you, as a person, what significant challenges have you faced in fintech, and how did you overcome them? Do you just want to mention one challenges you have experienced in the fintech space, and you want to tell us how you have been able to overcome one of these challenges? Thank you.
I would say trust. Trust is fintech sector is very unique in the sense that the trust is more important than the product. It's one of the few sectors that have that characteristic. So, especially in the Nigerian market, Nigeria is such a low trust environment. If they don't trust you, nobody's giving you their money. The only exception to this rule tends to be loan companies because they are giving money, right? So, most people just, collect the money, right? But even as time goes on, you see that a lot of people, if they don't trust your platform, even people will tend to shy away from collecting money from you, right? Like you can see the whole thing that happened with PalmPay. People started making skits about how they collect funds back from people, right? It was all jokes, but it really affected the perception, right? So when you tell someone, okay, you go and use PalmPay, they remember that, and it prevents them from doing that because now they don't trust PalmPay anymore when it comes to collecting loans or how they treat their information. You can see a lot of other loan companies, you see that also happening. So I think trust was one very big problem, very big issue. And the way we really did overcome them was overcome trust at that time. We started to be very, very transparent with what we were offering them. So rather than talk about the technology, we talk about how it makes their lives better. We try to talk about things that they can relate with in real life. And rather than just do online sales or marketing, we try to go to where they are and talk to them, right? Talk to them and try to understand their needs, try to relate with them, and try to even make them your distributors or your supporters. For example, I could say, okay, if you could help me convince 10 other people to come on board my platform, since you're already convinced, this is what we'll give you. Maybe free transfers, free credit, whatever, right? So that incentive drives them. And there's nothing that moves in a Nigerian market faster than social proof. In a low trust environment, social proof is a very, very high currency because where there is low trust, people would only go for things that their colleagues or their friends are going for. That's pretty much social proof, right? If everyone is going in one direction, most people go in that direction. So if you can leverage on that, that would really, really build trust. That's why referrals is such a huge deal. What people say on Twitter about your product or your service is such a big deal because all of this is what drives social proof, right? And if you can lean on that, it will create a lot of trust in your business. That is B2C. B2B, still relationship building. Yeah, relationship building is just a very powerful force. So if you're able to build the right relationship with the right people, other businesses would easily trust your business, right? So, I know this person A introduces me to this person, right? That automatically just gives some level of credibility to you. Unlike when you just go on your own and send that email, he doesn't know you, he's never met you before, he doesn't know your business, he's never heard of it before. Why should he do business with you? But when you are coming through somebody that he knows, he trusts, he has worked with, he would automatically transfer some of that social currency to you or that social trust to you, and it just makes your job a lot easier. So yeah, these are the ways that I employed in trying to foster trust.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Charles. And I really appreciate that you mentioned trust. I think this is one important factor that people even have to look to in the fintech sector. For instance, look at recently where we have some of the banks leaving and people losing their jobs. Some persons so worried about their money. Some persons have some old grandparents in the village and all. And even some of us, I know some friends who will say, I don't know how to open an OPay account or a PalmPay account because I'm not just sure if my money is safe, my money is secure. I don't want somebody come up tomorrow saying one policy is this and all. And I think that's a very, very important part that every one of us in the tech space, in the marketing industry, and all of we must drive is that's one thing we have to look at. And just like you mentioned, you are looking at proposing to people to tell them how this thing can benefit them. So with that, I think we have a great conversation today. But before we go, I really want to say a very big sorry to say we are sorry about the incident today. This is not planned for. We didn't expect this, but then we are sorry. Too sorry to the panelists too for the break we had during this session today. It is something that it's so big for us today. But then as time goes on, this is also a lesson for us in the tech space to see what we can do, to see how people can trust our product, then to see how we can actually innovate to get our products to be better as we progress. But then I just want to say thank you to every one of you. Thank you for joining us from everywhere. By next week, we'll be having another session. By this time next week, we'll be having another session. And I'm looking forward to a big one and a each glitch-free one where we won't have any issues or break in its transmission. And I want to say a big super thank you to the team at the Co-Innovation Center and GDM Group, and also to Antonia, who is the moderator for this session today. Thank you for holding up. Thank you for the leadership and all. And to everyone, until we see next week, I want to say bye for now. Thank you, Boluwatife and Charles. It's so great having you on the platform today. Looking forward to other session with you. Thank you. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.